What up, guys? The Bench Buddies are back with our Week 15
Ah,
NFL picks and preview. As always, I have Ethan joining me. And in our next
yeah.
video, we will be doing our giveaway. We will have a name in the comments and posted in the video as well. So make sure you guys come back to see because we did hit that 200. So the next one will be at 500 and it'll be even bigger and better than the giveaway that we do this time. So make sure you guys
Yep.
still hit that subscribe button and stay up to date with our channel. But first, we have to talk about last week's games. And Ethan, I'll let you go here. We did tie, but you're still in the lead by two.
So some storylines. Kenneth Walker should be back, according to today. Twitter, Adam Schefter, he should be back this week. He has no injury designation. Obviously that Rams Raiders game on Thursday night, that was crazy. No one really expected that. Baker kind of went crazy and he did his thing. But other than that, what about you? What do you think?
Obviously, I got to go talk about them Lions drinking that Kool-Aid. The big win at home pretty much solidifies that they are legit this year. And, they were even favored in this game over a 10-2 team, shows how good this team can be. And then another takeaway here is obviously the San Francisco Tampa game. We thought it would be a little closer than it was, but obviously Tampa just decided to not show up. And that's going to be interesting storyline to move forward these last 4 weeks with the NFC South, pretty much everyone being within a game. But we'll talk here. Thursday night football, probably one of the better games of the week to start the week. And Seattle needs that win at home to stay in the playoff hunt and the NFC West hunt. Because if they lose this one, then I believe San Francisco clinches the NFC West. But obviously, if they win that, then it's up in the air after that. But I don't think that's going to happen. San Francisco has looked very good, even with Brock Purdy at the helm, when he took over and last week. McCaffrey is obviously more than likely going to have a very big game this week. And obviously the Debo going down, is going to hurt them, I think, this week because it's such a short week to prep for. But they got weapons all around. They still have Kittle and Ayuk, and I think Purdy will be just fine. And I think it will be a close game, like a lot of people think it is going to be. But give me the Niners here to win the NFC West.
See, I don't think it's going to be as close as you think. Seattle's been trending down recently, and San Francisco, obviously, I think they're outscoring their opponents with Brock Purdy like 65-10 over the last 2 weeks. Some crazy numbers. Obviously, Debo Samuel being injured, like you said, is huge, but I think that means just more targets for Ayuk and Kittle, and probably more attempts for McCaffrey out of the backfield as well. So I think that defense is just flying around everywhere. They're athletic. They're the best defense in the league. It's going to be a tough night for Kenneth Walker coming back from injury. So give me the Niners here by I'd say probably about 10.
And then we got our Saturday slate here, a quick little 3-game slate.
Yep.
And it's gonna be an interesting one. They get better as the day goes on. You got the Colts going on the road to Minnesota. Minnesota needs that bounce back win, and I think they'll get it. And they're gonna be able to run the ball in this one because they struggled last week against Detroit. I think it was 46 yards total they had, maybe even could be 36. I can't remember, but it was not a lot. And I think if this team needs to win games come playoff time, they're gonna have to figure out how to have big plays against teams that can stop the run. Because once you have Kirk Cousins just throwing it to, Thielen and Jefferson the whole game, it gets predictable. So they're going to have to look to improve a run game here, and I think that's where they're going to really dominate in this one. So expect Dalvin Cook to have a good game and the Vikings to win.
Yeah, I'm with you there. I think Dalvin Cook's going to have a big game. Alexander Madison as well. I think their running backs are going to have pretty solid games. And Jefferson, obviously, with the Colts being the number one defense against the receiver in fantasy football, I still think Jefferson's going to ball out. It's playoff time. All you fantasy guys, we both know it's playoff time. So I think the Vikings' weapons are going to have big games, and I think it'll be an interesting game because of the Vikings' defense is pretty susceptible to the run with Jonathan Taylor, and so I think the Colts will keep it close. But Vikings at home, 1 o'clock, not too much pressure for Kirk Cousins. I think they're going to get it done.
Then after that one, we're going to go to Cleveland in a game that is essentially make it or break it for these Browns if they want to somehow squeak into a playoffs. I mean, it's kind of unlikely at this point, but stranger things have happened. And then you got Baltimore that pretty much is going to have Tyler Huntley for this one, assuming he passes all his concussion tests. He's trending upward to playing this one and starting, and I like that. I think the Ravens can go on the road and get this win and stay atop the AFC North. I know it's crazy that they're still here at 9-4, not getting talked about enough. Just because Lamar's been hurt doesn't mean that the Ravens are a bad team. We saw J.K. Dobbins return last week, and yeah, he may not be the same running back as he was before injury, but he still has that explosiveness and can have big plays. Once they figure out Mark Andrews actually going over 50 receiving yards for the first time since I think week 6 it is, once he actually has a touchdown, this Ravens team is going to be tough to stop because Demarcus Robinson has been good. Duvernay posted goose egg last week, and sometimes he has good games. So that's why I like this Ravens team, because anyone can hurt you at any point in the game. And the defense, well, the defense is a whole different story. Has been great as well. And also, I just don't want to see Deshaun Watson do good.
Yeah, that's fair. And see, I kind of figured no matter what, with Lamar being out, I figured the Ravens, it'd be closer to a Baltimore being -3. So it's kind of making me second guess this Browns pick. I thought it'd be an upset, but Cleveland's favored by 3 apparently. Now Deshaun Watson and that Browns offense looked really bad last week towards towards the first half, but getting the second half, Deshaun Watson really moved the ball, and the Browns offense looked better. They're going to have to get the run game going if they're going to want to win this game. Nick Chubb's got to surpass 100 yards on the ground. I think they're going to do it here. Baltimore's a tough defense, but it's going to be one of those tough, close games, and I think the Browns are going to pull it out.
And then in one of the bigger playoff implication games of the week, Miami goes on the road to face Buffalo, and this was probably the easiest pick of the week. If you do confidence points, throw all 16 of them on the Bills. I'm that confident this week. And the reason is, I was watching ESPN earlier. They said Tua is 0-3 all time when it is 50 degrees or lower at starting kickoff, and his QBR is like 18. So that's cause for concern. And there's also a report out that they had heaters on the sideline in LA against the Chargers when it was 55 degrees out. So,
oh my gosh.
Yeah, you don't like what's
No.
trending in Miami right now, and they're reeling. They could be on a 3-game losing streak here if they lose this one, which I think they will. They still have a tough schedule, so maybe this Miami team is going to finish on a down note moving forward. But if we're just talking about this week, Bills by 1,000,000.
Yeah, Bills have, I don't know how many exactly they've won straight, maybe 3 games in a row now. They've really started to turn it around. Close win against the Jets. Some people, you take that, what you get out of watching it. I think the Jets are a solid team and a tough divisional matchup. The Bills did just beat them by 8, but their defense looked really good. Obviously, Josh Allen didn't look too great, but I think that's going to change this week. I'm with you. I think the Bills are going to be winning by 1,000,000 here.
And then we'll move over to Sunday, the 18th, and we'll start it off with a huge NFC South game. You got the Falcons going on the road to play the Saints, and if Falcons win, Bucs lose, they're tied for first in the NFC South. And I think that might happen this week. Just wait to see for the Bucs Bengals pick. But we got the Falcons winning this one. Desmond Ridder is making his first career start in this one, where the Saints, they were still questioning, should it be Dalton, Winston? And that's never a good sign in the NFL if you don't know who your starter is going into a game. And I think Ridder is going to have a great game. He's had 2 weeks to prepare now. They announced it, I think, last Monday or Tuesday that he's going to start. They were on a bye last week. So he really has had time to prep for the Saints. And I think that's a great time to throw him in there. Maybe it's going to be the spark they need. Mariota has been decent at times, but it just hasn't been enough. And we're all surprised that we can see the Falcons possibly even make the playoffs too. A lot of people at the beginning of the year were not talking about this team contending, but they get lucky because their division is so bad. And I think this is going to show that it might be the worst division in football.
Yeah, well, it's definitely the worst division in football, I think. Saints at home. That's the only reason why I'm taking them. It's going to be a tough game for Desmond Ridder. That Saints defense is tough. They play hard. So I think they're going to make it quite a tough afternoon for Desmond Ridder. But to be honest, this could go either way. I don't really watch much of the NFC South. So I think the Saints are going to win, but really never know.
And then we got your Steelers going on the road to Carolina. And the mind-boggling stat of the week is Mike Tomlin has never had a losing season. And this is going to be the week that it happens. I'm going with the Panthers at home. more or less because through all the turmoil that the Panthers have been through this year, Baker, Sam Darnold, PJ Walker, firing your head coach, Robbie Anderson getting traded, Christian McCaffrey getting traded, the list goes on and on and on. And this team is a game out of the playoffs. And how can you not root for a team like that? Obviously, you don't want them this week because they're playing your Steelers, but from what has happened throughout this whole year, and the Panthers still have a shot in the playoffs, I think for me, it's more of this would be awesome to see in the playoffs. More than likely, they'll just get blown out, but they could host a playoff game, which is insane to me. And I think I want to see that. I want to see maybe Carolina give someone the best that they've played all year and pull off an upset. And that's what makes football so great. So I want to see those Panthers do that. So I got to go with them this week.
Yeah, that's a great take. I mean, I think if we were to have a poll and say who would you rather have win the NFC South, the Panthers or the Bucks, I think a lot of those answers are going to be the Panthers, and I think I'm agreeing with you there. However, Panthers are going to be 5-9 after this because the Steelers and Mike Tomlin just won't. They're not going to go down to 5-9 this week. Now, if Trubisky starts, this could be a different story. You have to catch me on Sunday. I'll let you know how that goes. But I think the Steelers are going to win as of right now with Kenny Pickett starting. But it's going to be a close game. Panthers have looked a lot better as of late with Sam Darnold. And I think this is going to be one of the better games of the 1 o'clock slate, even though no one really cares about the game.
And then another game that I think, people care too much about is this Eagles-Bears game, mostly because of the quarterback matchup. Fields, he should be able to play, get hit with questionable tag today at practice, but he should be good to go. Obviously, the Eagles, 12-1, best team in football. Defense has been great. Offense is outstanding. And I think the safe pick is to take the Eagles. Maybe it might be a little closer than people think because the Bears have played people tough in recent weeks, but it's going to be too much to stop because the Bears don't have the defense to stop a run game or, the weapons that the Eagles have. And they're getting Dallas Goedert back more than likely this week. And if that's the case, well, good luck trying to stop that. And the Eagles are going to be flying high in a 13-1 record.
Yeah, I'm definitely with you here. Just way too many weapons for the Bears defense to stop. They could make it close if Justin Fields has one of those days rushing where it's just insane and he just goes crazy. But even if that happens, I think the Eagles are going to best them. At worst, they're going to score a touchdown at the end of the game and make it a 10-point game or whatever. So definitely going to take the Eagles, and I think they're going to cover as well.
And then another blowout you should expect. But, the Texans did play Dallas good last week. So maybe hold the brakes a little bit. But this is a Chiefs team that just put up 27 straight against the Broncos, who have a top-tier defense in the league this year. And now they face the worst defense in the league. And I think this one, the Chiefs might cover the over-under by themselves. I think that might actually be a thing here. I think this is going to be Mahomes' biggest game of the year in the first half because he might not even play the second half because I think they're going to take it to him. And, this might be the Kelsey redeem game. He didn't do too much last week, but, obviously Ethan doesn't want to hear that because he missed our playoffs.
Yeah.
I just think that the Chiefs here are going to show their dominance yet again in the AFC and be one of those top 2 seeds.
Yeah, I'm definitely with you in this one. -14 is crazy to me because Dallas was just favored by 17.5. Kansas City is much better than Dallas. I do think Kelsey's going to have a great game this week, which, of course, because I just missed the playoffs, this would be great time to have any Chiefs in your lineup. Just starting the playoffs, they're going to score a lot of points no matter who you have, really. I think this is going to be a blowout game. Texans did look good against the Cowboys. I put $5 on the Texans money line last week, and obviously that went down to the final seconds, but it didn't hit, so it's all right. It's all right. Might have to do that again this week, though.
And then we got those Cowboys who we were talking about, and I'm going to go with them here on the road. Dak has been a problem. As I said in the Power Rankings video, 7 interceptions since his return, or 8 interceptions, since his return, and that causes for concern. Jacksonville, they play good one week, and then they get blown out the next 3, and then come out of nowhere and win a game. And, it's just a repeating process here. And I think Dallas, they need this win more than ever, obviously, to stay afloat in that NFC East. And they're going to do it in convincing fashion. I think they'll cover for sure in this one. And Pollard and Zeke will have yet another big day.
Well, Jacksonville really impressed me last week against the Titans. They really took it to them in that second half. Trevor Lawrence has looked great the last half of the season, even. Like, he's been legit. And I think the Jaguars are going to be maybe one of the favorites for next year, depending on how they end this season, because they're not out of it yet. I mean, if they win this game, it's 6-8. If the Titans lose, you never know how that might go. So this division is not over, and that's why I think the Jags are going to win.
And then you have the Lions and Jets in a coin flip for money line. The over under 44.5. And I think that's going to hit. So go over. And I'm going with the Lions here in this one because, I want to see that Kool-Aid be drank all across the United States. I want everyone to buy into this Lions hype. I'm not even a Lions fan. I'm a Packers fan saying this. And I just think it's awesome to see them finally succeeding. Of course, the year my Packers stink. So why not root for the home in-state team? And, if they get this win, then anything is possible for them because, well, this is the prove it game,
Yeah.
for me every week. It seems like last week was the big prove it. Oh, they're legit. But now they have to go on the road and prove that they can beat potential playoff teams. And, maybe Mike White is banged up a little bit. So Zach Wilson got announced. He's going to be the backup moving forward after he's been inactive the last 3 or 4 games. So we might see a little bit of Zach Wilson action in this one. But the Lions have consistency, and that's where it matters most in this one. So give me those Lions.
Yeah, I was really close to taking the Lions as well. I mean, just the way that they've been playing football recently, their only loss in the last month and a half was the close game to the Bills on Thanksgiving. Obviously, we all remember that. But the Jets, I don't even know. I think it's supposed to be Mike White this Sunday, right? It's supposed to start.
Mm.
If not, it's supposed to be Zach Wilson. He's not a second string. I know about that. So hopefully Mike White plays. We don't want to see Zach Wilson out there again. But I think this is going to be a really highly entertaining game. This Jets defense is legit, and I just don't know how Jared Goff and the Lions are going to do in the cold weather against a top 5 defense on the road. It's going to be a really big test, and if the Lions can beat them, then hey, I'm not doubting the Lions here. I think it's going to be a Jets close win. It's going to be a really close game.
And then moving to the 4 o'clock slate, you got probably a game no one's going to watch. So we won't talk about it that much. Sorry if you're a Cardinals or Broncos fan, but going Denver here, they showed signs of life on offense last week. Of course, the week where their defense just doesn't show up. Give me Denver here. I think they're going to have a better performance. The Cardinals defense did all right against the Patriots last week, but still gave up 27. And if they can score 27, a team that doesn't score that many points, then so can Denver.
Yeah, I think if Russell Wilson plays, they should definitely win. If not, I'm definitely not watching this game. It's going to be 2 backup quarterbacks. Obviously, Kyler Murray and Rondale Moore, I think, out for the year. They just got placed on the IR today. So very tough season for the Arizona Cardinals. I know it's probably going to be all over Hard Knocks. So, yeah, I'm going to take the Broncos. Definitely much more momentum right now.
And then you got a game for the Patriots. If they win, they're still the 7th seed in the playoffs, and I think that's going to happen. They're going to go on the road here and eliminate the Raiders from the playoffs. I'm surprised this one is just a straight up pick. I thought the Patriots would maybe get favored by 1, possibly 2, just because they have that better record and they're coming off a good win. And I like what I saw from Mac Jones. It wasn't really the best game, obviously, he's ever had, but he's good at game management. No mistakes, 1 interception last week, but whatever, it happens. But if he can have 1 turnover or less a game and keep the Patriots in it, the Patriots have a really good shot to win with their defense. But the big question mark going into this week is obviously running back room. Could it be Pierre Strong? Could it be Damian Harris? Could it be the other backup Harris? Could it be Ramondre Stevenson? Hopefully it's going to be Stevenson. He's trending towards playing. Damian Harris is trending towards returning as well. So they should have running backs 1 and 2 available for this one. But bearing any setback to the running backs as we make this video on Wednesday, then I got to go with the Patriots.
Yeah, I'm going to take the Raiders here. Hunter Renfrow and Darren Waller are going to be activated this week to play. I think that's kind of why this line has been just non-existent. I think that's why. Plus the Raiders being at home. It's going to be a tough game for the Raiders. Obviously, the Patriots are probably the number 2 defense in the league this year behind the Niners. But I do think the Raiders are going to be able to move the ball. They do have that superstar receiver and tight end and running back. So as long as the Raiders don't turn it over too much, I think this should be a pretty sizable win against the Patriots.
Then at 4:25, you have a game that is a must win for both of these teams. And this is why I like it. Getting down to the wire here at the end of the year. And I got to roll with with my Chargers, my team that I put at number one in the power rankings at the beginning of the year. And this team is at 7-6. And, you know, maybe they fell off a little bit, or maybe it's because half of their wide receiver room was hurt the year. And you saw Keenan Allen and Mike Williams finally finish a game together. And what did you see? They dominated essentially against the Dolphins, I think. Herbert had a great game, only one touchdown pass, but 39 completions. Keenan Allen had a great game. Mike Williams had a great game. And if this team is fully healthy, not to mention Austin Eckler being in top 5 running back in the league right now,
Yep.
then you got to go with the Chargers. They're hot right now, where the Titans have lost 3 straight. They're coming in, desperately need a win. And if this game was in Tennessee, then I might switch my pick here, but it's home in LA, and I think those LA fans are actually going to come out and support.
Yeah, and the momentum is definitely trending towards the Chargers. The Titans have lost 3 straight now, I believe, and they really have not looked good after that blowout loss to the Jags. I think the Chargers should win this game. As you said, Herbert's looked great as of late. Keenan Allen, Mike Williams, their weapons are finally back, and I think that's gonna really help them out. The only thing I'm concerned about is that the Chargers just always happen to lose these close games where they need to win. So that's why I was hesitant to pick the Chargers, but I'm not changing the pick this week like I did last week. And I'm going to stick with the Chargers.
And then you have the game of the week called by Tony Romo, Jim Nantz on CBS. You got the Bengals going on the road to Tampa. I thought about going, but probably not because it's on my 2-year anniversary. So girlfriend probably wouldn't like that one. So we're going to go with Cincinnati on the road. And, well, these Bengals are still clawing to be the top spot at the AFC North. They need a win. Ravens need a loss to take that top spot over. And I think one of these times it's going to happen. These Bengals are hot, and they didn't even have T. Higgins or Tyler Boyd last week. And, who knows what's going to go on there moving forward, if they're going to return right away, get put on IR, kind of be done for the regular season, or just kind of wait it out a week or two. And even Trey Hendrickson, with a broken wrist, he is not going on IR. He might even play this week with a broken wrist. So he's got that dog in him. And if you want to flip the script and talk about the Bucks, what happened last week is out the window. You need to come back and get this win to stay atop the NFC South. And if you lose this one, well, those teams are going to be clawing at you to essentially take this division from your hands right at the end of the year. And you don't want that, but it might happen. And they have a tough schedule remaining. And the Bengals, well, the Bengals are on fire right now. So I got to go with those Bengals.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure the Bucks after this week, they do play the Panthers and the Falcons one more time. So that's going to be really interesting, especially if the Falcons win. Then they'll all be tied going into the next week. If the Bengals win, obviously, and the Bucks lose, they'll all drop down to 6-8. That's going to be really interesting because if one of those teams can beat the Bucks, then essentially the Bucks will not be making the playoffs, which would be really surprising from people at the beginning of the year. I know our predictions. We obviously picked the Buccaneers to win the division. But talking more about this game, I do think the Bengals will win. I mean, they just looked so much better as of late, and with Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase being back, I think that's going to help a lot. Obviously, having a superstar wide receiver come back. So definitely Bengals should win this game, and they should cover. Honestly, in my opinion, they should cover.
And then the Sunday night game is probably the biggest game for the NFC East all year and biggest game of the NFC all year as well. You got the Giants, Commanders, both at 7-5-1 after tying 2 weeks ago. And Washington comes out of the bye. Giants come off a very bad loss. And give me the Commanders. Taylor Heineke is going to show that he is the third best quarterback in this division, and the ground game for Brian Robinson, Antonio Gibson will have a field day against this Giants team that just feels like they can't stop anything right now. And don't forget about Scary Terry. He's going to have his probably 10 catches, 100 yards like he normally does. So they also got to talk about the defense, though, for these Commanders. They're finally getting back Chase Young. I know I said it in the power ranking video probably like 2 months ago that it seemed like he was trending to play every single week. But this is for sure the week he's coming back, and he's going to make an immediate impact on the Giants. Probably get a sack. Why not? Bet on it. Throw that in there. You bet on him to get a sack. So give me the Commanders here at home. I think they're going to get a much-needed win and possibly even sneak into the playoff spot after this week.
Yeah, I mean, take the Commanders' money line plus a sack by your boy Chase Young. I think that'll cash out pretty nice. But yeah, obviously the Giants have not been able to stop much as of lately, and the Washington Commanders can stop the run. I think that's just about the only thing the Giants can do right now with the way they've been playing is just run the ball with Saquon Barkley. And I think they're going to have a tough time doing that this week. So give me the Commanders. Taylor Heineke's going to have a good game, along with Brian Robinson and Antonio Gibson.
And then Monday night, we got my Packers at home, must-win game. Shut up. And then must-win game for these teams. I mean, not really the Rams. They're kind of already looking towards last year, but they don't want to give Detroit a top 5 pick, so they really need that win because of the Stafford deal. But my Packers still have an outside shot of making the playoffs. Obviously, you have to win out, have Seattle, Giants, and Commanders, lose a few games here and there. But this week, this is more on Rodgers possibly lighting him up. He's coming off a bye. His thumb should be the healthiest it's been since he hurt it. His ribs probably should be good to go as well. And this Rams defense, well, they kind of aren't what we thought they would be. Jalen Ramsey obviously still out there, so he's going to shadow I don't know who because the Packers really don't have a top tier receiver. Obviously, Christian Watson's been great, but he's no, Devontae Adams like they've had in the past. So he could be all over the field. So expect Rodgers to really take his matchups in this one and go that way and possibly line up Aaron Jones outside as well. And so he could have a big game too. So if you're looking at a betting aspect in this one, I think you're going anytime touchdown Aaron Jones, and you're also going to go the over in this one because I think if there's going to be some scoring, the Packers are going to put up probably 24, and I think the Rams will get around 21. And I think it'll be closer than people think, just because Baker will actually have the system in place, and he actually has better weapons to work with here. So give me the Packers here.
Yeah, I think the Rams will cover. And I like that Aaron Jones anytime touchdown. I also like Christian Watson anytime touchdown. But give me the Packers here. Not much. Neither team are playing for much here in this game. Obviously, Aaron Rodgers versus Matt Stafford. Throwback to the NFC, was it divisional game last year between these two, or was it?
They didn't play last year in the playoffs.
All right, well, they played the year before that then in the playoffs. And so that's about the only storyline you can get here other than your betting. So I'm going to take the Packers here, and I think the Rams will cover.
But that's going to be it for our video this week. Make sure you guys come back next week to see who will be winning our big subscription giveaway. We're going to have that announcement on my phone. I'm going to hold it up like this. It's going to be your profile, and then we'll get in contact with you there. But until the next time, Bench Buddies are out.
She never called back.